today's video is going to be an interesting one, right? Because, well, one, I want to talk through some stuff with you guys, and two, I want to go get the car weighed. I had a look last night. There's basically a few places around my area, and I just thought, you know what? Now's the time. So I'm going to weigh it. It's obviously not in its lightest configuration. We've still got the carpets to go. We've still got some door guards to come out. We've got more sound deadening behind the dash, all that sort of stuff. But what we can do is we can get the baseline, right? And then we can weigh all the stuff that we take out. I think the majority of the stuff is done. The stuff like the exhaust, which is hard to weigh, all that stuff is done. So the rest of the stuff we can just weigh as it comes out. And also I want to talk about a debrief post-Cadwell. If you guys haven't checked out Cadwell, go check it out in the top right-hand corner. What we've done, some fixes I've done, some changes I've made, some findings I've found, all of which I've posted on my social media. So if you guys aren't already following, check out the links below. But we'll run through that. I've got some pictures, I've got some videos and stuff I want to show you guys, and hopefully it'll be quite a nice drive. It's not too far away, just letting everything warm up. So give me 2 seconds, we'll get on the road and we'll start talking through some stuff. So again, if there's any sound settings that are wrong or video settings that are wrong, it's going to take me some time to get it right. Just bear with me at the moment. I'm hoping it's better. That's obviously why I've changed the cameras. Anyway, back to it. So obviously we're on the way to go get the Pug weighed. There's a local weigh bridge not too far away, so that's goal number one. Post Cadwell debrief. So what happened? Obviously, if you guys watched the Cadwell video, you would have known that we had obviously some issues that we had to deal with. Engine mount, absolutely just let go. Thankfully, since then, I've checked it. Everything's all good. All the bolts are still in place, and we did actually find where the last bolt was. So there was 3 bolts in there, and we did find where the last one was. Funny enough, it's while I was doing an oil change post-Cadwell, and we actually found one of the bolts wedged in between the front bumper and one of the under trays. So it must have just come flying out. And, you know, shit happens. I think what we just need to do in general is, especially after trips like the ring or anywhere where there's a lot of vibration, a lot of movement, we do need to once over engine mounts, you know, all the other stuff, as you would, you know, wheel bolts and all the, you know, all the regular stuff. Anyway, so we managed to find that. I checked everything over, that's all good. I've now done an oil change. Again, I've put the same oil in. So it's 5W40 8100 power by Motul. I find it a lot better. The engine's a lot less ticky, and it seems to handle heat a lot better. It stays pretty viscous at higher temps, which for me is #1 priority. That will probably be changing in the future though, but I'll probably discuss that further on down the line. I've got some plans to change the oil again. Same grade, just a bit different, and I'll explain that closer to the time. I'm unsure yet, so I don't just want to go drop the bomb. Anyway, along the same chain of that, when I was doing the oil, I decided I was going to fit a temperature gauge. So as you can see, our temperature gauge is currently reading 34. Now the reason I've done that is because I have no idea what the actual oil temperature is on this car. You would have thought, it's 2018, isn't it? It's a modern car. Yep, don't have an oil temp sensor. I have no idea why on a performance hot hatch Peugeot decided, yeah, don't worry about that, mate. 200 degrees, fuck it. Anyway, so obviously I've fitted the temperature gauge, and what I'll do is I'll flash up a picture of what I've done. So basically I've used an adapter on the sump, and then I've just plumbed it up to just a cheapo temperature gauge. Now accuracy of this, not too sure how accurate it's gonna be. The main thing for me is, one, I don't drop my entirety of my oil. That's obviously #1. And number 2, just to give me a rough idea. So some temperatures are going to be between 5 and 10 degrees lower than maybe the hottest point of the oil, like pre-oil cooler. Again, it's just to give me a rough idea and try and figure out what the oil's doing. If we see it creeping up towards the high teens, like 118, 190, touching 120, the oil temp's probably towards like 125, 130. So it's probably, you know, your time to back off and let the car cool down a bit. At the moment, I have no idea what that is. No idea. And the only way I'm going to find out is by having this temperature gauge. So that's all fitted. I've been driving around. When I'm cruising around, like now it's still cold, 42 degrees. But when I'm cruising about, it gets anywhere between 75 and 80 degrees on the gauge. So add 5 to 10 to that, call it 80, 85, maybe 90 degrees just cruising. If I get up to speed, drops way back down again as the oil cooler gets some fresh air. Now I've got just a stock oil cooler on this. There's no fancy front mount, you know, oil cooler or anything like that. It's just stock. So it'd be interesting to see, because nobody on the Owners Club can tell me oil temp without an oil cooler. Do we actually need it? Nobody really knows. We're gonna find out. If we do, we do. Okay, we have arrived. Basically like a little I don't know what you call it, a gravel merchant or whatever. Anyway, if you Google it, you look at your public way bridges basically, and this is one of the 4 that are open on a Saturday. So there's somebody on there now, so we're just going to chill for a little bit. Taking everything I think out, so we haven't got obviously even the helmet in the back. I thought, let me take that. That's 1.5 kilos. So yeah, you can see here as well. Here the oil temp's about 80. Not bad at all. There you go. I try so hard to get this gauge not to flicker, and there you go. That's the line of sight pretty much. I just got it there. You can see it flickering again. Fuck's sakes. Anyway, yeah, he's loading up some gravel, so I'll just sit here, chill here for a little bit. And then, yeah, we've got pretty much a quarter of a tank. We'll do all of our calculations based on that. Morning. Wonder if I could get a weight.
A weight?
Yeah.
Vehicle, yeah?
Yeah, please.
As it is now, yeah?
Yes, please, yeah. Just bored on a Saturday.
What name is it, please?
Ross.
It's a registration number.
It's X1LGE. Just on card, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. If I get you just to sign in there, that box there, try the signature. You are 1,000.
Perfect. It's not bad. There it is. Thank you very much.
There you go, mate.
Right, cheers. Have a good day.
Thank you, mate.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Oh. What were your guesses? I don't know. I'm probably going to blank that out, what you said. I'm going to keep you guys waiting just a little bit longer. I'm surprised. I don't know if it's good surprise or bad surprise. Let's just leave it at that. Anyway, there's a couple more things I want to talk about, but I need to get outside of the car. So give me, I'm saying give me like 5 minutes, like you've got to wait. Give me 2 seconds. Oh. How good this gimbal is. Oh gosh, right. I've got the weight. Yeah, weird. I don't know if I'm impressed or, anyway, here she is. Now what I've got to do is figure out how the hell this new camera works. But anyway, as you can see, here she is in all of her glory. And there's a few things I want to talk about with regards to the outside. Now, one of them I did touch on, the actual Cadwell video, the rear brakes. Now, you can see, I don't know how well you can see it. Now, this should have autofocus, this thing. So if I hold it up close, can you see all this brake dust in there? Look at that. I mean, there's a bit of tire as well, but all that brake dust is borderline the same as the front. Now, why I think this is interesting is purely because the rear brakes never get used on this car, ever. Never. And we've gone through about 1/3 of a pad on the back, and all of that's on the rear wheels. So that's quite interesting. The fact that it's got more grip, it tends to like it and maybe bias the rears a bit more, which also leads me on to this. Why? You're really going to struggle to see this, I think. But yeah, you can see in there, that's how much pad we got left in the front. I'm trying to figure out how this thing works. Anyway, that's pretty good going, considering I went through a set of pads, Carbon Lorraine CL6s at Bedford I mean, they were about half a pad, but we went through them in basically one session. So brake bias wise, looks like we've got a bit more brake bias, which is interesting. I quite like that. You can see obviously the exhaust tips. So the exhaust tips, they're both dirty. That's dirty. That's dirty, which means we are getting equal flow-ish out the back, as equal flow as we could probably get. I will show you one thing here. If I can get up here, I think there's a way you can lock this. Yeah, here we go. How much can you see in here? Because this is where we are rubbing. It's actually wearing away the fucking metal, and it's leaving like a super sharp edge. So it's one of them. Do we let it self-clearance? God knows really. Or do we just bend it? I have no idea. Same on this side as well. You can see, you can't see, hold on. You can see a little bit there. Oh, it's not focusing. For the most part, really good setup. And then obviously the eagle-eyed viewers, eagle-eyed viewers, if you haven't been on the socials, you'll notice the mirror caps are now silver, just to add that last little touch of silver on the front. Now, excuse the car, it's fucking filthy. It's absolutely filthy. But I just needed, well, I guess it's less of a need because I didn't need to go weigh the car. It's good to know, but now I've got a figure. So what we'll do is we'll hop back in the car. I've got a couple more things I want to talk about, and then I'll reveal what the final weight is. And I think you guys are going to be shocked. I'm going to leave it at that. I mean, this camera's awesome, by the way. If I do this shit, I mean, Looks like a fucking cinema. This is crazy, bro. It's so smooth. Let me know what you guys think about this camera stuff as well. For me, anything that makes it easier to click record and record, I'm happy. It's one of the last things that I found with the Pug was actually the steering wheel. When I came back from Cadwell, the steering wheel was actually facing a bit to the right. And I was thinking to myself, I've literally just done the tracking not all that long ago. Like really not that long ago. So what I did yesterday is I managed to go to a flat place on the ground, get the gyro line tool out, and I found out that the front left was actually towing out. I'll put a before and after on the screen here, but before you can see everything's pretty much in bar the front left. Front left was towing out 3 mil more than I obviously want. Now I don't know if that was something to do with when the gearbox mount gave way and sort of fell over, and I really don't know, maybe I hit a curb, maybe something when I was towing. I have no idea, but what I can tell you now is it feels drastically different. Not different in a sense, but more so back to how it felt when I first did the alignment. But obviously now that I'm messing around with the alignment stuff, I've got some more ideas in my head. And if you look at obviously the rear toe on there, we're about 4 mil rear toe in. Not ideal, but again, these are rear beamed cars, so you don't really have any adjustment you can do on the rear. It's just natural toe in that occurs. So yeah, it's just natural toe in that you just have with it. So I might look into some of those easy shims by SPC or IBAC and see if I can try and toe out the rear, maybe to neutral. And while I'm there with the SPC shims, the IBAC easy shims, whatever they are, you can add a bit of camber as well. So maybe we camber in the rear another degree or so, camber in the front a degree or so more. Just give us a bit more rear end feel really. And then some toe out will just help prevent a bit of understeer, maybe make the rear end a bit less stable and more oversteery. Again, it's how do you want to play it? I don't really know. I mean, on top of all of that, you've still got the compression adjustments you can mess around with as well. And I think what I'm going to do is probably go a bit stiffer on the front, leave the rear as it is. It's all a big game, balance and setup. It's a massive thing. Tire pressures, geometry, suspension, all that sort of stuff with the compression ratios and blah 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 blah. It's all a big fat game. So it's one of those, and I think every single track will be different. I've never really had any understeer issues. I did find the rear end was slightly lively, nothing major, certainly confidence inspiring. So a bit of toe out and a bit of more front end grip in turn from towing out the rear should make it quicker mid corner, I'm hoping. Anyway, that's future state. Regarding the future state of the Pug, since we're on about that, I think carpets need to come out, dash needs to come out. I'll just leave that there. There's some big things in the pipeline. It's not cheap, and yeah, that's just why it's taking longer than I'd like. But unfortunately, I've got to make the money to spend the money. So it's one of them, I still want to do track days throughout this year. I've still got 2 more slots in my head, one next month and one more after that, the month after, all the way up to September, which would be pretty cool. But yeah, big things in the pipeline, so just watch this space. I guess the time has finally come to reveal and talk about the weight. So, is there any important information on here? No. You've always got to check. You dox yourself. 1,220 kilos. 1.2 ton. Hey, what's going on here? Oh dearie me, there's a bike falling over. Hold on one sec. Yeah! Anyway, what do I think? Wow, considering Peugeot's stock figure was 1205. No, they are low balling. They always low ball, fuck me. So I think all up around about stock weights for 308 GTIs, depending on the trims, like if they've got glass roofs or blah, 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 blah. It could be anywhere between 1,300 and 1,320. So we are the best part of 80 to 100 kilos lighter than stock. Which, You definitely feel. You definitely feel. You know, like I said, there's still more to go. I think we could probably touch the 1.2 ton mark. You just have to be very clever about how we go about doing stuff. That's before we touch anything like carbon fiber panels or anything. I think door cards need to come out. I think carpets need to come out. Sound deadening needs to come out. What else can go? Some of the... Yeah, basically, it's mainly sound deadening and carpets. Anywhere where I can get stuff out, the better. Wiring, it sounds stupid, but wiring that's unneeded, like some of these airbag wiring and all that stuff can be removed, and it does add up. You know, a kilo here, a kilo there, all of a sudden it's 20 kilos. So, yeah, that's good to know. 1.22 ton, that's light. And if we say, you know, we're around 330 horsepower, 320, 330 horsepower. That's good. That's really, really good. And I don't need numbers on a page to make me feel happy about a car. I seriously don't. But it's a good metric to have. I could tell you, and various other people will tell you as well, this car's rapid. And just putting the numbers to what rapid looks like, I'm impressed. I really, really am impressed. Fuck me, this thing sounds so good. Oh god, that's like Cooper trying to race me. Oh, okay. I was gonna say, he's got no hope. Anyway, guys, I hope that answered any questions you did have. Some more information, and guys, please, if you want some more content live as I'm doing stuff, head down to the socials, Facebook, Threads, Instagram, that sort of stuff. I'm posting there all the time. I'm an addict, so get over there, follow me, message me if you got any questions, and I'll do my best to answer. Other than that, onwards and upwards. I don't know what we're going to be doing next, but we do have a track day booked, Castle Combe again, for the 28th of August. So if you are around Castle Combe area, 28th of August, come pop by. If you're not, don't worry, there will be a video. If you've got a track car, you best be there. You best be there. There's still plenty of slots. Get a slot, and I'll see you there. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.